Hi everyone, it's Raina. So this video is 7 awesome things about Cancer. I did make a series of videos recently where I was talking about the shadow aspects of each sign. You can find it on my channel. I called it 7 sketchy things. And I did one about Cancer. It's kind of funny because I'm still getting people watching those. I'm sure I'll get that for forever, that people will always be watching these and discovering it for the first time. And someone got really mad, and I'm like, these are the shadow elements of the sign. It doesn't mean that everyone is going to have these traits. So hopefully this will go over much better with some people because it's positive traits. And unless you're cross-watching for your ex and you're hoping that I'll say a bunch of negative things. Well, not in this one. This one is going to be positive things. And I just want to also note that this doesn't have to be just the sun sign. This can be if you have the moon in Cancer, or the person you're watching for, or Cancer rising, things like that. It will manifest in different ways, but it should be personal points. Mercury, Venus, Mars also, because these comprise your personality and are really dependent upon your time of birth more than, what your Pluto is in, because Pluto has a 15-year transit through one sign. So that's not going to really impact your personality the way that a moon sign will, or a sun sign, or Mars, okay? Okay, number 1 is sensitivity, caring, sympathetic. Now, I have kind of tried to lump some things together because whenever I compile these lists, I'm afraid that I'm being too repetitive. Some of the traits may seem part of the same family, so I'm trying to do less of that, but it's hard because when you think of certain traits, there are nuances between those things. And I may lump things together that really are not quite that similar as I'm making them out to be, but we do what we can. So Cancer people are known for being sensitive, even hypersensitive when it comes to themselves, but they're very sympathetic, sensitive, caring towards other people as well. The word sensitive is getting a bad rap these days because there is so much insensitivity in the world. And of course, there's always that game that some people play where they say, oh gosh, you're so sensitive, get over yourself. So sometimes people say mean things or rude things, and then they, you're usually going to react to it in one way or the other, probably not a very good way. And then they insult you a second time by telling you you're too sensitive. So you get a double whammy. And yet, Cancer people, even if they're hypersensitive, they tend to be very concerned about the feelings of other people. And this is wonderful, precisely because we have so much insensitivity in our society. And I can always tell the people that probably have some Cancer, personal planet, because they, even if I know they're not that as their sun sign, I can tell because of this trait. Now, sometimes maybe a Pisces or Scorpio person can mimic it pretty well, but there's just something special about Cancers. And I want to qualify something because it does depend on other factors. This is the archetype of Cancer and what it represents. You may be a Cancer and have a lot of Leo, for instance, or a lot of Gemini, and you may be a lot less sensitive about yourself or about other people. And so you may not exhibit some of these traits. So I'm looking at it from that pure Cancerian influence. And this can really show itself in both the male and the female Cancers. Remember that Cancer is a cardinal water sign. So water signs are going to be emotional in and of themselves. But Cancer is also a feminine sign. Water signs are feminine. And so whether the Cancer is a male or female, they're going to exhibit traits that go along with that sensitivity. And if they have a child, the chances are that they're going to treat their child with respect in terms of, if their child has a fear, let's say, of the dark, they're not going to say, get over it, you're too old to be acting like this. They may actually even go along with their child's fantasy or fear about monsters and really be imaginative about it. Say that they have monster spray that sprays the monsters and keeps them away. Doing things that kind of tap into that fantasy. I'll be getting into that in a minute, but I just wanted to kind of talk about that first point because I think it's a big one. Number 2, nurturing. And see, we can say that these are kind of similar traits. Cancer is a sign of the mother, so it doesn't matter if it's a man or woman Cancer. The males can be just as protective. I could have put protective too. But I guess that goes without saying when we're talking about nurturing. And it doesn't matter. Are you cold? Do you need something to eat? Do you need something to drink? Making people feel at home when they come to visit and really just safe and cared for. And again, these are attributes that we don't see in modern society that much anymore because there's a lot of yang energy, which is projected into the outer world. A lot of people who have abandoned home cooking and things. I mean, you would be amazed at how life-changing it is to cook for yourself. And, you have here a Taurus rising telling you this. And this is really, it's not just cut and dried about certain, saving money or something like that, or healthy. There's something energetic about it. There's something spiritual about it that you can't put your finger on. But when you make a point of sitting with your family, and it doesn't have to be a traditional kind of a family, but sharing a meal, making your own food, having the intention and taking time to nurture others and nurture yourself with slow cooking, not fast food, okay? That can really enhance your life. And the Cancer person knows this inherently. They know that this is not just a superficial aspect of life, that this is hugely important. And when you feel like somebody cares about your well-being, that makes you feel safe, okay? And that makes you feel like you're part of something bigger than yourself, and that it feels nice, to make it as plain speaking as possible. Number 3, imaginative, dreamy. I always talk about Cancers having dreamy eyes. And that is very true. But the imagination, creativity, I could have put that down. But being imaginative means that, let's say a Cancer parent would be a good storyteller, and they could really entertain their children with wonderful tales before bedtime. Suffice it to say that this makes Cancer, the sign of Cancer, a natural for being an artist. And really, I would say an all-consuming artist, where the person lives and breathes their art. And because that's kind of like the sort of immersion that you would associate with like the sea itself. I think about this song by Joni Mitchell called Little Green, and I definitely recommend you look it up on YouTube. But the first line is, born with the moon in Cancer. And she was talking about the daughter that she gave away for adoption when she was in, I believe, her early 20s. And, I mean, it's just exquisite. And actually, Joni Mitchell is a triple water sign. Her sun sign is Scorpio. I don't know if her moon is in Cancer or her rising sign, but she's got the trifecta of Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio, and sun, moon, and rising sign. And she's an example of a water sign who's a consummate artist, a painter, as well as an amazing poet and an amazing singer. And I like her guitar too. But, this kind of thing, this brings beauty to the world, and this brings a delicacy to life, a sensitivity, again, going back to that word sensitivity. Number 4, modest, humble. Now, I want to go back. One thing I want to say about being imaginative and dreamy and being creative is that you encourage that in your children. You encourage that in others. Let me just say that. You inspire others to do the same. And I had mentioned in another video that it seems like a lot of parents these days are raising their children to be involved in competitive sports. And I think that mentality, that's a young kind of a thing, competition, that masculine thing of competition instead of more interior things like creativity, which isn't about winning or losing. It's just about expressing yourself, and that we need more of that in the society. So number 4 is modesty and humility. And this is something that I have seen with the sign of Cancer. Obviously, again, if you have a lot of Leo, that may fall by the wayside big time right quick. But if you're like the typical Cancer person, there's not going to be a lot of look at me, blah, blah, blah. There might be some wanting attention, wanting assurances from your loved ones that they care. So there might be a little bit of that. But there's not that sense of like, I'm promoting myself over somebody else. And that's the kind of trait that we see with narcissists. And again, any sign can be a narcissist. Okay, so I'm not saying that a Cancer person can't be a narcissist. But the qualities of the sign lend themselves more to cooperation with others, like because Cancer connects to the family, there is this kind of an attitude of thinking of more than just their own wishes and their own feelings, but taking into account others. And I think that modesty in life is wonderful, and it makes for a lot of, I think, I hate to use, I don't like to use the word hate, but I don't like to use the word democratic because then people think I'm talking about political things, which I am totally not. I'm talking about the idea of a democracy where everybody gets a say. And a Cancer person is caring, and they want to hear from everyone. They want everyone to have a voice. Number 5, nostalgic. You could say being sentimental. Now, sometimes people think that's a liability, but actually, Cancer is the keeper of the records, the historical things that are going on. And so Cancer people can really care about the past, and it's really nice because they tend to be interested in antiques, and especially when it comes to their own lineage, they may enjoy hearing stories about their great aunt or uncle or grandparent, and want to pass that down so that there's some sense of continuity, some sense that everything is that something has come before it, and we respect the ancestors, we respect the lineage. I could have put family oriented, if I had thought of it. I probably should have, because nostalgia isn't necessarily that big of a trait. And I think that being attached to the family or being connected to family, I think that creates a lot of stability in society as well. Number 6, thoughtful. So a Cancer person usually remembers birthdays, the dates of important things for themselves and other people. So they're not likely to forget your birthday. They will tend to be thoughtful when they pick gifts, where they will really take into account the personality of the person that they're dealing with. They can tune into that. And I could have even put intuitive. I mean, that now after the fact, I could have created those, because some of the ones I created, I think I could have left off or combined with another one. So it's okay if I do it on the fly. But that's definitely a nice touch that Cancer brings, is that they tend to remember, and maybe it's because they have such wonderful memories, retentive memories, that they tend to remember important dates of the people that they love, their birthdays and stuff like that, and anniversaries. But they also can be thoughtful in terms of, get well soon cards, sending over a hot plate, to somebody who's just given birth or is in bed, sick or what have you. So that's part of that nurturing, that they have, I guess. And then the last one is they create a sense of belonging. I'm glad that I did get around to this. Family, domesticity, good cook. I had to put that one down. And of course, some of that may connect with things I've already said, but that sense of belonging is what family is all about. And if you feel like, if you're a Cancer person, I think there must be no greater hell or just sad experience if you're alienated from your family, because family is so important to you. So if you are in that position, you're listening to the sound of my words, find your tribe. Don't assume that your family is limited to your shared DNA. Definitely bless the fact that you had to go your separate ways and be proud of your strength, but don't doubt for a minute that you might have had to do it for a very serious reason. And if it was to preserve your sanity, then God bless you, because that's certainly true for some people, that they cannot, they cannot have dealings with their family of origin. It's just too chaotic, too negative, what have you. Now, doesn't, maybe you need to forgive certain people, but it doesn't mean you need to hang out with them. Find your tribe, find people that support you and give you that sense of continuity and connectiveness, or connectedness. I think that's what it is. So you can actually do this for other people, though. You can make them have a sense of belonging, and they can feel like they are, that you are part of their tribe. And actually, Cancers can be the kind that invites the neighborhood kid over for dinner because they see that they seem to be without a parent who is feeding them and things like that. So you may do that for other people, take in strays, fur babies, and take care of those. But strays in terms of human beings that, are disaffected in some way in their life, and create a sense of family. And that is a wonderful thing that Cancers tend to do. Okay, well, I hope that you enjoyed this. I do personal readings in a similar vein, so please check out my website, rainamoonastrology.com. I have linked it below, and I wish you all the best. Take care. Bye.